You hear it every day. That soft, sometimes loud, sometimes almost desperate meow. At first, it feels normal, maybe even cute. You tell yourself, they're just hungry, or they want attention. So you fill the bowl. You give a quick pat. Maybe you even talk back like they understand every word. And for a moment, it works. But then it happens again. Another meow. Another look. Another moment where it feels like your cat is asking for something, but you're not completely sure what. And that's where most people stop thinking. But what if that's only the surface? What if your cat has been trying to tell you something, and you've been answering the wrong question this whole time? Because here's the strange part. Cats don't actually meow much to each other. Not like they do with humans. Kittens do it, yes. But adult cats? They grow out of it with other cats. So when your cat looks at you and meows again and again and again, that's not random. That's intentional. It's learned. It's shaped by your reactions. And for many owners, the meaning behind it is far more emotional than they ever realize. Sometimes it's about comfort. Sometimes it's about routine. Sometimes it's your cat checking, are you still there? But sometimes it's something much deeper. Something most people only understand when the behavior suddenly changes or disappears. And that's the part no one really talks about. Because a cat that meows a lot isn't just talkative. In many cases, it's a cat that has quietly learned how to reach you. Your reactions, your habits, your attention, even your silence. And once you see it that way, that sound, that simple little meow, starts to feel very different. Less like noise, more like a signal, almost like a message you've been hearing, but not fully listening to. In this video, we're going to break down what your cat's meowing really means. Not just the obvious reasons, but the hidden ones, the emotional ones, the ones that can completely change how you see your cat and how they see you. And if you stay with this just a little longer, you might start hearing your cat in a way you never have before. Because your cat hasn't been making noise at all. They've been communicating in the only way they know how. And the most important part of that message is something most owners don't notice until it matters the most. So now that we understand this isn't just random noise, let's go deeper. Because your cat's meowing isn't just one thing. It's layers. And each layer reveals something different about how your cat feels and how they see you. 1. The trained you effect. This is where it starts. Your cat meows. You respond. Maybe you feed them. Maybe you look at them. Maybe you talk back. And without even realizing it, you've just taught your cat something powerful. This sound gets a reaction. Cats are incredibly observant. They don't just live with you, they study you. They notice how fast you move when they meow near the food bowl. They notice the tone of your voice when you respond. They even notice when you ignore them. So, over time, the meow becomes refined, more frequent, more specific, more intentional. It's not just a sound anymore, it's a tool. But here's the deeper part most people miss. Your cat isn't just training you to do things. They're learning how to reach you. And that changes everything. 2. The check-in meow. Sometimes your cat meows, and nothing obvious is wrong. Food is there, water is there, everything seems fine. But they still walk into the room, look at you, and meow. Why? Because this isn't about need. It's about connection. Cats may seem independent, but they form strong emotional bonds. And that soft meow, it can be your cat's way of saying, I see you. Do you see me? It's a check-in. A quiet emotional ping. You'll often notice this happens when you've been busy, on your phone or working for a while. They come closer. They make a sound. Not loud, not urgent, just enough to pull you back. And when you respond, even with just eye contact or a soft word, they relax. Because in that moment, they're not asking for food. They're asking for presence. 3. The routine anchor meow. Cats love routine, not just because it's comfortable, but because it makes their world feel safe. And your cat's meowing often becomes tied to that routine. Same time every morning, same time at night, same moment before bed. They meow, not because something is wrong, but because something is expected. You might think, they're just reminding me to feed them. But it's deeper than that. You are part of their routine. Your actions, your timing, your patterns. They build your cat's sense of security. So when your cat meows at those specific moments, they're not just asking for an action. They're saying, keep things the way they're supposed to be. And when that routine breaks, that's when the meowing can become louder, more frequent, even a little anxious. Because for your cat, routine isn't just habit, it's safety. 4. The emotional meow, the one most people miss. This is where things start to get deeper. Not all meows sound the same. Some are sharp, some are drawn out, some feel different, almost like they carry emotion. And they do. Cats can use their voice to express how they feel. Lonely, confused, stressed, even slightly insecure. And this is where many owners misunderstand their cat. They respond with food. But the cat wasn't hungry. They respond with a toy. But the cat wasn't bored. They respond with nothing. And the cat feels unheard. Because sometimes, that meow isn't about a physical need. It's emotional. You'll often notice this kind of meow during changes. A new home, a new person, a change in your schedule, even something small, like you being gone longer than usual. Your cat notices, and they respond the only way they know how, with a sound that says, something feels different. And if you've ever felt like your cat was extra vocal during those times, you weren't imagining it. 5. The attention loop, why it gets worse over time. Here's something many owners experience and don't fully understand. The meowing increases, more frequent, more persistent, almost like your cat is pushing harder to get your attention. Why? Because of something called a feedback loop. If your cat meows and you respond sometimes, not always, just sometimes, that actually makes the behavior stronger. Because now your cat is thinking, if I keep trying, eventually it works. So they try more and more and more. This is why some cats become extremely vocal over time. Not because they're needy, but because they've learned that persistence pays off. And here's where it becomes emotional again. Your cat isn't trying to annoy you. They're trying not to lose connection. 6. The silent message behind loud meows. Now let's talk about the meows that feel intense. The loud ones, the repeated ones, the ones that feel almost urgent. Most people assume something must be wrong, and sometimes that's true, but not always in the way you think. Sometimes, loud meowing is your cat saying, "You're not responding the way I expected." It's frustration, not anger, but confusion mixed with urgency. Your cat has a pattern in their mind, a certain way things usually go. And when that pattern breaks, they raise the volume, not to be dramatic, but to be understood. 7. The question most owners never ask, and this is where everything comes together. Because once you understand all of this, the behavior starts to look very different. So let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed your cat meowing, and you responded automatically, without really thinking about why they were doing it? Most people do. We react fast. We assume. We move on. But what if, in that moment, your cat wasn't asking for what you gave them? What if they were asking for something else entirely? Attention, not food. Reassurance, not play. Connection, not routine. And that's the hidden part. Because your cat can't explain it in words. So they repeat the only signal they have. That meow, again and again and again, until something feels right. And once you start seeing it this way, you stop hearing noise, you start hearing meaning. But there's still one deeper layer left. Because there's something about your cat's meowing that most owners only understand when it changes. And when it does, it can feel very different than you expect. And this is the part most people don't see coming. Because after all the meowing, the repetition, the moments that sometimes feel a little too much, there comes a time when it gets quiet. And at first, you might even feel relieved. No more constant calls, no more interruptions, no more wondering what your cat wants. But then, something starts to feel off. The house feels different. Your cat feels different. And that silence? It doesn't feel peaceful anymore. It feels empty. Because here's the truth most people only realize later. That constant meow you heard every day was never just noise. It was presence. It was your cat reaching out again and again, making sure the connection between you was still there. Each sound was a small thread, and over time, those threads quietly built something strong. Trust, familiarity, attachment. So when that sound changes or fades, it doesn't just mean your cat is quieter. Sometimes it means something deeper has shifted. Maybe your routine changed. Maybe your cat feels less certain. Maybe they've stopped trying as much because the response isn't the same. And in some cases, it can even be a sign your cat isn't feeling like themselves. That's why the meaning behind the meow matters so much. Because it's not about how loud it is or how often it happens. It's about why it's happening. Your cat doesn't speak your language, but they've spent their life learning how to communicate with you anyway. They've adjusted their voice, their timing, their behavior, all just to be understood. And once you realize that, you stop brushing it off. You pause. You listen a little longer. You look at them differently. Because now, when your cat meows, you don't just hear a sound. You hear a question, a feeling, sometimes even a quiet kind of love. And the most powerful part? You can answer it. Not always with food, not always with action, but with awareness, with presence, with a response that matches what your cat is actually trying to say. Because in the end, your cat was never just being noisy. They were reaching for you. And now that you understand that simple little meow might be one of the most meaningful things you hear all day.